Hey guys, my name is Nguye, but you can call me Andy, and I'm an IELTS Musketeer. What does a musketeer mean, you might ask? Well, a musketeer means a soldier who carries a musket, a type of gun, and guards the king. So as an IELTS Musketeer, I have the responsibility of defending you guys from all the difficulties and challenges you could face in the IELTS exam. So this is a brand new segment of IELTS Face Off called Musketeer Inbox, which is entirely dedicated to answering all of your questions about the IELTS exam. So if you have, any questions, seriously, any questions at all about the IELTS, like how to improve your vocabulary, how to deal with some question types in the reading or listening test, don't hesitate to send us messages via the Facebook page of IELTS Face Off, and we will do our best to answer all of your questions on this segment, Musketeer Inbox. So remember, if you need to ask anything, we Musketeers are right here. Alrighty, let's get down to some of the questions we have here. These questions are gathered from this Thursday's live streaming session of Mr. Dak Tung. Okay, question number 1. Yes, 1,000 times yes. It is extremely important that you should know some common English fillers to make your speech more natural. For those who don't know, fillers are used to fill the silence when you are speaking. During the IELTS speaking test, you guys often hesitate, right? So you need fillers to, keep you going and maintain your fluency. Personally, in my answer, I just like to use 1 or 2, filler words or phrases like, basically, something like that. That is, totally normal and, perfectly okay. See, I just use some conversational fillers. But don't use them too much though, because you're gonna sound very unconfident. This seems like an IELTS speaking part 2 question, wherein you have to talk about one topic for 1 or 2 minutes non-stop. So what should you do in this case with this super difficult question? Just make up something. Just make up an imaginary environmental law and then improvise. In this part, you don't have to give a factually correct answer. The examiner just wants to test how well you respond to the question. So a very good strategy I often use in this part is the PPF strategy. It stands for past, present, and future. First of all, I'm going to introduce this fake environmental law in the present tense, like its effects, its functions, its purposes, and then I'm going to make up some story about this environmental law in the past, like why the government decided to pass this law, and then in the future, finally, I'm going to express my hopes and predictions. Maybe I will say something I would like to change about this law in the future. So you see, with this PPF strategy, I can literally answer any kind of IELTS speaking part 2 questions, even if I don't know a single thing about it. Just make it up as you go. I love this question because this is about vocabulary and expressions, and I love words and everything about it. Let's see, to express thanks, there are so many different ways. Like you can say, I am thankful for something, or I am grateful, very grateful for something. Like, I am grateful for you watching this video. Or you can say, I really appreciate your support. However, if you are really extremely grateful for somebody, you can say, I cannot tell you how much I am grateful for your support. I owe you big time. About idioms, about gratitude. Oh, I know this one. That is to owe someone a debt of gratitude. It means that you are very grateful that someone has done something great for you. Like we owe you a debt of gratitude for helping us out with our loans. Okay. For those who don't know, intonation is a rise and fall of the voice when speaking. If you have good intonation, you will sound just like the native speakers when you talk. If you are a beginner, I suggest you should check out 2 of my favorite programs. BBC, first of all, BBC 6 Minute English. They have really nice British accent there. Or the VOA Special English, which is excellent for people who love the American accent, like I do. So on these two programs, the speakers often talk at a rather slow, easy to listen to kind of pace. So you can easily listen to their voices, how they rise and fall. And also after each episode, you can listen back and try to repeat after the speakers and copy the way they talk. In this way, if you do this long enough, I believe you can, improve your intonation much better. This is a question specifically for Mr. Tung, so I can't really, answer this. But I can show you some of my all-time favorite books for IELTS speaking. First of all, that is IELTS Speaking by Matt Clark. He is a former IELTS examiner, and in this book, he will guide you very thoroughly throughout all kinds of IELTS questions in the speaking test, like the yes-no questions or the hypothetical questions. I highly recommend this book. Another one is the Collins Get Ready for the IELTS Speaking. This book is just for beginners, like about band 4 and above, with a lot of interesting topics. And finally, you should check out the famous IELTS Simon blog. He has a lot of useful, interesting tips in the IELTS speaking, and also, you can go there for some ideas in the IELTS speaking test. Okay, this is a problem faced by, not just by you, but by a lot of Vietnamese people, because we are so accustomed to thinking in Vietnamese and then translating our thoughts to English. I suggest, as beginners, you should try to practice thinking in English. First of all, you can try, calling everything around you by their English name, from the doorknob, the broom, to the garbage bin. And then, when you feel like your vocabulary levels has improved, you can try to think in English by making simple English sentences in your head. Like, today, I have a lot to do. At 6 p.m., I have to go to English class. See? One step at a time like that, and I believe one day you can think in English easily and have all the words you need to express yourself clearly in English. How about using them all? I personally consider myself a word lover, and whenever there's some new word or phrase coming up, I will try my best to use them immediately in my writing or speaking. There is no should or shouldn't when it comes to good vocabulary. If you find some word interesting, you should note it down and try to use it right away. If that word helps you to express your ideas very clearly, then it's great. Who cares if that vocabulary is low level or high level, right? Okay, now I need to take a break. But don't switch the other videos just yet, because I got a lot of good stuff for you coming right up. Welcome back to Musketeer Inbox, a brand new segment from IELTS Face Off by VTV7, and Andy is here to answer all of your questions about the IELTS exam. Now, let's see some more interesting questions from our lovely audience. Okay. The IELTS speaking part 3 topics are often, very general and, broad. For example, you may have to talk about, the things that young people in Vietnam often want to buy. So, you see, the topic is very broad. So a lot of people do not know where to begin, where to get ideas. So I suggest that at home, you should try to prepare ideas for as many topics as possible. Because, for example, like the topic shopping, you can go to Google and search for some keywords like shopping, Vietnam, young people, and then you should have like a notebook to note down all the interesting information you gathered from the internet. So when you are asked some question related to shopping in the future, you already have ideas prepared at home, and you are no longer stuck, right? So all in all, good ideas do not come naturally. It takes a lot of preparation. This question is so good and on point. I noticed that many of my students have trouble with remembering good vocabulary. So I highly recommend that you should, try to apply new vocabulary immediately in your daily life to, on your speaking or your writing. For example, yesterday I have just learned a new phrase, much less. It's super cool. And then I tried to make a sentence out of it. Like right now, I can't afford a new phone, much less a new laptop. See? By making a sentence with a new vocabulary, you are giving it a context. So you will remember it much easier and you can recall it anytime in the future. I come from a small town. Back then I did not have anyone to practice speaking English with. So what I did was I talked to myself. I used to talk to myself in simple sentences. Like when I was going to school, I was like, okay, the school gate closes at 7 a.m. so I gotta be quick. Oh wait, I haven't had breakfast. How can I survive until noon? Oh god, I'm so hungry. See? Because of that, a lot of people used to think I was autistic. But anyway, if you want to go far, you seriously need to have a partner or an environment to practice speaking English with. I suggest you should join like, a club or a class. Yes, a million times yes. If you are new to English as well as IELTS speaking, just try to, speak in separate simple sentences at first. And take your time, don't hurry. Haste will only make waste. This is a very common problem for Vietnamese people, and I just want to say this. Never ever be ashamed of your mistakes. Mistakes are what help you learn, help you grow, help you develop. What do you have to worry about? You already have your teachers to guide you and correct you. And for other people, I bet they don't really care about your mistakes as much as you do. It's all in your head. You need to speak up and make as many mistakes as you wish. If you don't speak up, nobody is going to know what kind of mistakes you have and how to help you, right? So all in all, don't be ashamed of your mistakes and just speak up. Wow, this is another good question. Well, let's see. First of all, for the IELTS speaking part 1, I prefer to give a really direct answer in just like 2 or 3 sentences. This part 1 is like a warm-up, so you don't really need to give long answers here. But part 3 is different because the examiner expects you to give a really long and detailed answer. So maybe you need to answer in 5 or 6 or even more sentences. I still remember in my last IELTS exam, I gave a really long answer in the IELTS speaking part 3. Just like I was writing an essay paragraph. Second of all, I also think that questions in part 1 and part 3 are really similar in terms of question types and topics, so you should prepare as many ideas as possible for both parts. And also, I always prefer, talking about my own personal experiences to support my viewpoint in part 3 because, it's easier to talk about ourselves, right? Okay, so that is all the questions we have today. Whew, this has been a really demanding task, answering all of the questions, but it's fun. I like it. I like helping people. So from now on, if you have any questions at all about the IELTS exam, don't forget to send us messages via the Facebook page of IELTS Face Off, and we are more than willing to answer all of your questions in great details. Back to IELTS Face Off, episode number 4 with the topic Breaking Through Obstacles was aired last night with our wonderful guest Hao Chang, whose nickname is Strangely Ugly. Though I don't find her ugly at all, to be honest. If you missed this episode, be sure to check it out on the YouTube channel of IELTS Face Off. But next week's episode is gonna be even more awesome. You're gonna discuss one interesting topic, that is global citizen, as well as travel with our wonderful Khánh Vi to some interesting northern province of Vietnam on the segment IELTS on the go. But even better, you're gonna meet one special guest who is, guess what? A debate expert. Gosh, talking about it makes me so pumped right now, but I really can't tell you who that is. So remember to tune in to IELTS Face Off at 9:30 p.m. next week on Saturday. the 21st of October to find out, only on VTV7. So goodbye for now, and I will see you in the next episode of Musketeer Inbox.